Here's the truth. How you eat on Ozempic or any of those GLP-1 medications will make or break your results. And sadly, the diet that most people follow leads them straight down the path of metabolic shutdown, brutal weight loss plateaus, and sadly, the gut-punching moment when they realize their weight starts to creep back on. Trust me when I say this, I've lived this. I struggled with obesity since childhood. I lost over 100 pounds, and after years of trial and error, finally figured out how to maintain my weight loss. Now I have that passion, and I run a nationwide GLP-1 clinic working with my medical practitioners, and we address weight loss plateaus, broken metabolisms, and helping people achieve real sustainable weight loss through GLP-1 microdosing and lifestyle intervention and peptide protocols. Here's the part that'll blow your mind. The very thing that's supposed to help you lose weight is actually what's sabotaging everything. The number one issue I see with our patients on GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, all the freaking GLP-1 medications, is that they're literally starving on accident. I'm talking people eating 800, maybe 1,000 calories a day when they should be eating closer to around 2,000. And here's the kicker. They're like, doc, you want me to eat more? I can barely get down the 800 calories now. These medications are so damn powerful that people are walking around eating way less than their body needs, and they feel completely fine about it. But here's the problem. When you're in this severe deficit for weeks and months, your body goes into starvation mode, aka battery saving mode, aka freaking zombie mode, which is a really funny way to explain how these people look as well, because they're not just in a stall, and many of you are feeling this right now. And tell me, drop a comment if you feel some of these symptoms as your weight loss has stalled. Are you feeling brain foggy, fatigued, tired, constipated, cold all the time? You're not crazy. This is related to the metabolic shutdown that we're talking about. And it's so crazy to see how excited people are during this process of weight loss, because the scale's moving and it causes them to not even notice that they feel freaking terrible until somebody like me asks them. But this is what I see every single day. Here's what happens next. You plateau hard. And when you try to eat normally again, the weight comes flooding back because your metabolism is shot. So here's how we can actually fix it. It's called a metabolic reset. So we establish how many calories you're eating. Let's say we figure out you're eating 1,200. Week number 1, we're going to bring that up to 1,500. Week number 2, 1,800, so on and so forth. We are slowly bringing you back up to the TEE, total energy expenditure, which is a rough estimate of the amount of calories you should be burning, aka should be eating every single day. And guess what? Throughout this process, you won't gain weight. In fact, some of you actually start to lose weight, but better yet, you'll feel so much better. The process is slow, it's methodical, and you're actually doing some metabolic rewiring, fixing your body's default settings so that you can lose weight the right way. But here's what'll blow your mind. This metabolic damage is actually the key to unlocking a ketogenic diet approach that lets you eat carbohydrates again while staying lean. But here's the thing. If you don't fix the insulin resistance first, you'll stay stuck in that plateau forever. Give me 3 to 6 months of strategic keto diet, and I can show you how you'll be able to eat carbs again without gaining weight. I'm talking about using the smart keto as a healing tool for that first 3 to 6 months. Sounds impossible? Here's the exact keto protocol that we do with our patients every single day. First, let's talk about why this works. We've been absolutely duped for the last 50 years. Remember that shitty food pyramid? The garbage telling us that most of our diet should come from grains and cereals? Yeah, hopefully you watching this now have adopted a very different structure towards what you're eating. If you look at the obesity timeline, you can pinpoint when rates started to skyrocket. Right around 1977, when the government said saturated fats were the enemy, and there was no research that backed it up, by the way. Here's what we know now. When you eat carbohydrates, they spike insulin, and insulin isn't just about blood sugar, it's the storage hormone. Its real job is putting energy into fat cells and keeping it there. Insulin resistance is the core problem. Chronically elevated insulin levels, meaning just insulin levels that are elevated all the time, will block your body's ability to access stored body fat. You literally can't get the energy that you already have that's stored. Smart ketogenic approach, what we want you to do is just suck it up, buttercup, for the next 3 to 6 months so that we can fix your insulin resistance. Not forever. This is part of the process. We're going to put in the work early on. This is your protocol to fix your underlying issues, insulin resistance and inflammation. I want you to get about 50 to 60 grams total of net carbs. That means total carbs minus fiber, because fiber shouldn't even be labeled as a freaking carbohydrate. It acts completely different in your body. body. Protein, protein, protein. We don't need to overcomplicate the formula. You want to strive to consume about the amount of grams of protein per day that is near or a little bit over your target body weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you are trying to hit 150 pounds. You should be striving to consume at least 150 grams of protein. And this will be really easy if you're trying to get protein in with every single meal. But in case you're not and you want to be a little conscious over this, and in that case, in that example, about 150 grams of protein per day would hit your protein requirements. This is crucial because muscle mass is like a freaking sponge for glucose, for sugar. Building muscle mass makes you more insulin sensitive. Remember, insulin sensitivity is what we want. We want to reduce insulin resistance. We want to become more insulin sensitive. Just want you to understand that because people use those interchangeably. And being more insulin sensitive means you're building more muscle mass too as well. Think of muscle mass as the currency of your metabolism. You are metabolically more fit the more muscle mass you have on your body. And with GLP-1 medication suppressing appetite so much, if you're not getting adequate protein, you are going to lose a ton of muscle mass. And that's the last thing that you want. Now, here's where the magic happens. You want about 60 to 80% of your calories coming from fat. You've swapped carbohydrates for fat. And I hear this mistake all the time, high protein diet. If you're eating a high protein diet and you're eating moderate to low fat and obviously low carbohydrate, then you're not getting enough calories, period. You gotta think fat as the replacement for carbohydrates. Focus on healthy fats, avocados, olives, most nuts, but let's avoid peanuts, small fish, olive oil, avocado oil. And of course, if we're doing an animal-based diet, aka carnivore, you're gonna get mostly animal fats, and that's completely fine. We'll talk a little bit more about carnivore in a minute. Now, here's the foundation so that you can take something home with this. Take the Mediterranean diet and paleo approaches, and let's modify those for lower carbohydrates. So Mediterranean and paleo kind of give you a quick reference and structure. You can Google those, find plenty of lists, and then just modify it to go keto. It really is that simple. When you're shopping around the grocery store, think the perimeter of the grocery. If it's on the perimeter, it needs a temperature control, it needs to be colder, and it's better for you. Now, as far as processed foods, ideally we want to cut that out entirely. I like to give our patients the 90-10 rule. If we can be clean 90% of the time, 10% is your junk food, your wiggle room. I'm okay with the idea of you having a cheat meal or two. If you're the kind of person that works better with complete abstinence, go for it. But if you think the idea sounds ridiculous, then give yourself some controlled cheat meals. I found both methods work. It's just figuring out which method makes the most amount of sense for you. Here's why you won't fail like millions have on Atkins and keto diets. Atkins failed because the diet was the only thing keeping insulin levels in check. And when people gave in and stopped eating low carb, ultra keto, they quickly regained all that weight. Here's what's different with it, what I'm teaching you. The flow protocol, which is my structured approach over years of doing this on myself and with patients, I figured out the cheat code to fixing metabolic health that doesn't require a lifetime of eating no carbs at all. So picture this, 3 to 6 months from now, you are eating pasta, bread, fruit, desserts, and still maintaining your weight loss. Doesn't that sound freaking amazing? You'll be able to have your cake and literally eat it too, because the fasting protocol, the flow fasting aspect of this is so powerful that it keeps you insulin sensitive even as we introduce carbohydrates. For most people, imagine this, no more food anxiety, no more I can never eat that again. You're not building a diet prison. You're building metabolic flexibility. Carbohydrates become a tool that you can use, not the enemy. And you'll find out later, if you follow my content, that when you become insulin sensitive, using your carbohydrates strategically on the days that you lift weights, now that's some power for you to build muscle mass while staying lean. This is the first truly sustainable approach where you don't have to fear food forever. Give me 3 to 6 months of this healing protocol. Then we unlock genuine food freedom, quality sourcing when possible, but don't stress if your budget's tight. Consistency matters more than perfection. If this food freedom approach gets you excited, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be dropping many follow-up videos on exactly how to implement this protocol and other protocols that gear around optimizing your GLP-1 weight loss journey. Now, what if I told you that there's a Harvard-studied approach that gets 98% diabetes improvement rates, but most doctors won't even freaking mention it because it sounds way too extreme? Here's the real story. Let me blow your mind here with some science. In 2021, Harvard University published a study looking at how the carnivore diet affected health of over 2,000 people for a 6-month period. The researchers concluded, contrary to common expectations, adults consuming a carnivore diet, meaning all animal meats, fatty red meat is what we focus on when we look at the carnivore diet. Experienced few adverse events and reported health benefits and high satisfaction. But here's the jaw-dropping numbers here. 98% improved their diabetes, 97% improved their gastrointestinal, their GI symptoms, 96% improved psychiatric symptoms, 93% completely improved or resolved their obesity. Those are some powerful, powerful numbers. This isn't just some blog post opinion, folks. This is the Harvard freaking University studying real people for real results. Here's why this matters for your weight loss. Inflammation and insulin resistance feed each other. The more insulin resistant you become, the more inflamed you become. The more inflamed you become, the more insulin resistant you become. And inflammation blocks fatty mobilization, just like elevated insulin does. Fatty mobilization is that step that your body has to do before it can burn it. Even when you're in a calorie deficit, if you're highly inflamed, your body struggles to tap into the stored body fat. And for those of you struggling with autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, or lupus, your immune system is targeting your own tissues for destruction, creating an inflammatory cascade that makes weight loss nearly impossible. And for some of you with non-autoimmune inflammatory conditions, irritable bowel syndrome, post-COVID, Lyme's disease, the inflammation is still crushing you, keeping you in that fat storage and making it difficult for you to burn the body fat that you need to and that you're working so hard to do. In addition to Carnivore, to help our patients with autoimmune inflammation, we have a powerful triage of prescriptions. Number one, low-dose naltrexone. So low-dose naltrexone is kind of like microdosing GLP-1s. It's a medication that's FDA approved for separate indications, but it is a game changer for inflammation. And we do service across the nation when it comes to LDN. And we also like to stack it with powerful peptides like BPC 157 and KPV, which are also powerful gut healing anti-inflammatory peptides. If you guys want to get a prescription for any of these powerful anti-inflammatory medications that can work with your GLP-1s, use that link in the bio and schedule a free consultation to learn more. Here's where most people get stuck when it comes to carnivore. I'm not talking about eating just steak and only steak for the rest of your life. There are flexible carnivore approaches. I've had so many people tell me there's just no universe where this is going to happen, so they just don't even give it a shot. But the flexible approach is where I have found success with patients being able to do something that seems more sustainable and real for them. So in addition to fatty red meat, we have things like berries, avocados, olives, some low glycemic fruits as well, and some low inflammatory vegetables like squash and cucumbers. As you develop more insulin sensitivity throughout this process, then introducing raw honey and real maple syrup as your primary sweet carbohydrates down the line. This removes most inflammatory triggers while keeping enough variety so that you can actually stick with it. It's not about perfection, it's about strategic elimination. If you haven't been eating fruit, here's something that you need to understand before reintroducing a large amount because it can shock your system. Begin with 5 to 10 grams of fructose daily. General population, 5 to 10, maybe 15. This would be a small portion of berries. That could be like a half a cup of berries, for example. Every week, add another 5 grams so that after about 4 to 6 weeks, your body will be comfortably handling anywhere between 30 to 40 grams of fructose per day. Check out your labels to get a good idea. You just don't want to shock the body with too much fructose if you haven't been doing any fruit at all. Practically speaking, meal prep with an Instant Pot or air fryer, ground beef is your affordable go-to. If you get constipated initially, totally normal, use magnesium citrate, that'll get things moving. You might only need to go every 2 to 3 days because animal foods are so bioavailable. It is completely normal to not have to go to the bathroom and pass your normal stools nearly as often because you're absorbing the majority of what you eat. If you're stuck in weight loss plateaus, dealing with slow results, or confused by conflicting advice, you can book a free 15-minute discovery call with our experts to give you personalized guidance on breaking through these stalls and understanding how this whole long-term weight maintenance, low dosing strategy thing works. I'll drop the link in the description so that you can book your discovery call. Whether you're interested in coaching or whether you're interested in some of the anti-inflammatory peptides, you can get all of that by booking your first call. If you guys enjoyed that video and you want to take a deeper dive to understand some more aspects of our program and why we get such great results, check out that video right there. We'll see you guys later.